Wednesday, all day, Macy's one-day sale. Savings, values, store-wide, plus a preview day Tuesday.
They played in places like Brooklyn, Flushing, and the Bronx. Presenting New York Legends, a series of 5 instant cash games with 4 chances to win up to $2,500. It's our way of giving something back to the fans.
Watch Jeopardy tonight at 7 right here on ABC 7.
Your first look at numbers and win for drawings.
Tonight during Wheel of Fortune.
What a beautiful shot of New York from over in Brooklyn. It is Tuesday, April 15th. I think that date means something. Maybe it'll come back to me what it means. Here are the stories making headlines today. The White House applauds, but Republicans are seething after Attorney General Janet Reno rejects calls for a special prosecutor to probe Democratic fundraising. We're going to hear this morning from Frederick Whitehurst, the FBI whistleblower, whose claims of evidence tampering are this morning expected to be vindicated by a new report. We're going to talk to a West Point cadet who's criticizing her commanders for refuting her claims that she was stalked and raped by a fellow cadet. Oh, that's what the date means. We're going to visit one of the busiest IRS service centers for last-minute tips on extensions. And this morning, you're going to meet a woman who doesn't care about tax day at all. She's out in Las Vegas, and she won a record $12.5 million jackpot playing a slot machine. One other story, of course, Tiger Woods. He is still the story. Takes Atlantic City by storm. Cue the office building from ABC News headquarters in New York. Good morning, America. And I'm Charles Gibson.
And I'm Deborah Roberts in for Joan London. It is Tuesday, as Charlie said, April 15th. Can you believe that woman won $12.5 million, just one little pull?
Yeah, and she doesn't have to pay taxes on it until next year.
Right, right. So she can enjoy it this year.
How lucky she is.
Right, a lot of things going on this morning, Charlie. Also, we're going to remember the extraordinary Jackie Robinson, who broke baseball's color barrier exactly 50 years ago today. Plus, the 5 medical questions every son should ask his father.
All that coming up this morning. Plus, Spencer wants to remind you weather as well. But let's get to the news of the morning, and Kevin Newman is in for Elizabeth Vargas.
Okay, good morning, Charlie, and good morning, everybody. Well, those claims of evidence tampering and other irregularities at the FBI crime lab are the subject of a report due from the Justice Department today. ABC's chief investigative correspondent Brian Ross joins us now from Washington with some of what's expected from that report. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Kevin. The report is expected to be a major blow to the FBI and its once highly regarded crime lab. The report was the result of allegations made by an agent who worked in the crime lab, Frederick Whitehurst, who came forward on ABC News a year and a half ago. Since then, a blue-ribbon panel of scientists have looked into his allegations. While the report is expected to find that most of his specific allegations were not substantiated, the allegations involving many major cases were in fact substantiated. Those involved most notably the Oklahoma City bombing case, the World Trade Center bombing case, a bombing of an Avianca airliner in Colombia, an attempted assassination of George Bush in Kuwait, and also the case involving the O.J. Simpson trial, where the testimony of an FBI agent who worked in the lab is being called into question. It is a major problem for the FBI. The lab is also expected to be under criticism for a lack of proper protocol. In fact, the lab is not even accredited, and many state police labs are said to be much more qualified than the FBI lab now in handling evidence.
So, Brian, what does this mean for some of these investigations, like the Oklahoma City case, which is about to go to trial?
It's a major problem. One investigator told me to the extent that the Oklahoma City case relies on forensic evidence, evidence handled by the FBI, it is a serious problem. What the report is expected to find is that, in fact, the science was backwards. FBI agents became aware of evidence found at the home of Timothy McVeigh and then matched their findings in the lab to match up with the evidence to further prove the guilt or attempt to prove the guilt of Timothy McVeigh. In other words, science that was done backwards, not an independent, thorough inquiry of the kind that the FBI lab had once been famous for.
Okay, thanks very much. Brian Ross, reporting live from Washington this morning. And Deborah, we'll be talking with FBI whistleblower Frederick Whitehurst, who first alleged problems with the labs, in just a few minutes here on Good Morning America. And now this from Whitewater figure James McDougal, who says he is, quote, sick and tired of lying for President Clinton. McDougal spoke after he was sentenced to 3 years for fraud and conspiracy, a relatively light sentence based on his cooperation with Whitewater prosecutors. And McDougal is hinting that President Clinton's worries could worsen.
I'm not peddling truth or asking people to believe anything. I have simply responded, and I think that the documentary evidence will substantiate anything I have said to the independent counsel.
Whitewater prosecutor Kenneth Starr says McDougal's cooperation has helped uncover documents and witnesses in the investigation. But the president will not have to face an independent counsel investigation of campaign fundraising, at least not now. Attorney General Janet Reno decided yesterday not to seek one in spite of pressure from Republicans. Here's ABC's Ann Compton.
In Janet Reno's firm no to the Republicans in Congress, she argues that so far campaign fundraising allegations are not enough under the law. She writes, "We have no specific credible evidence that any covered White House official may have committed a federal crime in respect to any of these issues." The Attorney General went into detail, such as Vice President Gore's use of a White House telephone to raise money. Federal regulations permit such incidental use of government property for otherwise lawful personal purposes. That has unleashed the political backlash.
I think she's making a mistake. Maybe I wouldn't have said 2 months ago that she was making a mistake, but there's just been day after day, just like a steady drumbeat of additional evidence.
I think she made the correct decision under the law as she was advised by her own professional staff. I don't think she was required to appoint an independent counsel unless she found that there was some likely criminality.
I do not see any possible way for the Attorney General to defend the decision not to have an independent counsel.
The White House believes Attorney General Reno made exactly the right decision, but this tug of war between the legal definition and the political realities of Washington isn't over. At the Justice Department, that team on election laws is still digging, and that evidence could yet trigger an independent counsel. Kevin?
Okay, Ann Compton reporting live from the White House this morning. 2 Army drill sergeants at the Aberdeen Proving Ground in Maryland allegedly competed to see
Republicans to raise. The numbers 2, number 3, and number 4 positions of justice are empty. Lots of the assistant attorney general jobs are empty. Janet Reno is home alone. The FBI, as you'll discuss later on this show, seems to have real problems. There's a real problem at the Justice Department. I personally so dislike the independent counsel statute, Charlie, and I think people in the Reagan administration were so unfairly persecuted under it that I can't really find it in me to criticize her for not appointing an independent counsel, even though I suspect many of these people are not so innocent in the Clinton administration.
And the investigation is going on. There's a task force in the Justice Department of career FBI officials and career prosecutors who've been looking at this for 5 months.
But Cookie raises an interesting point. She has said there has to be this threshold crossed before I can appoint one. As soon as she does appoint one, if she ever does, it would be sort of an aha, there it is, that's the evidence.
Well, and if that's where the law goes, that's where the law goes. But right now the law says that an independent counsel should not be appointed because the threshold hasn't been crossed.
Just a legal
the Republicans'
decision.
complaints
It's a
are with the law,
political
not with Janet
decision as well.
Reno.
Cookie,
I think there'll be such a spotlight on Janet Reno, it seems to me, that in a funny way, she and the career people in justice, I think, may end up having to be tougher on Clinton, and the congressional committees can now do more since there's no independent counsel than if one had been appointed. So I'm not sure this is so bad for those who want to get to the bottom of what really happened in the White House.
Very quick word, Cookie, we're out of time.
I think that's right, and I think that also this is a political decision, and she might have made the wrong political decision.
All right, Cookie Roberts, Bill Crystal, George Stephanopoulos,
Thanks.
as always. It's Tuesday, George. You're always here on Tuesdays. 16 minutes past the hour. Let's go to Deborah.
Thank you, Charlie. As we heard earlier from ABC's Brian Ross, the Justice Department's Inspector General is expected to release a report today condemning the FBI crime lab for mishandling evidence and for slanting its analysis. The report is expected to specifically criticize the lab's handling of the Oklahoma City and World Trade Center bombing cases. It was the allegations of FBI whistleblower Frederick Whitehurst that sparked that investigation. Mr. Whitehurst joins us from Washington this morning, along with his attorney, Steve Kahn of the National Whistleblowers Center. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Deborah.
Mr. Whitehurst, the idea of criticizing the FBI is not something that's new to you. You've actually been blowing the whistle for a decade or so. Are you feeling vindicated by this report?
Sure, the report vindicates me. I don't think vindication of me is what's important here, though. I think that people that go into court should be assured that they've got fair justice waiting for them, and that's what's important.
The Inspector General is expected to say that he could substantiate most of your allegations, although not all of them. Does that leave you feeling that there may be something you have to apologize for?
No, we're required under law to report any indications of misconduct. Indications do not mean there's been misconduct. They mean there's indications. And that's what I've done. I've done my job.
You've been raising some serious questions over the years, talking about sloppy work, in some cases fabricated evidence. What does this say to all of us about the FBI crime lab? Is it simply unreliable?
No, it doesn't speak about the FBI crime lab. It speaks about a group of people, a small group of people in the FBI crime lab. My allegations, the indications that I raised were not about the whole laboratory. And I think that if out of this we lose trust in the FBI lab, then we're doing ourselves a disservice.
As Brian Ross reported this morning, many of the government's cases, including the Oklahoma City bombing case, could be compromised as a result of what you have done. Does it leave you having any second thoughts at all about making the reports public?
No second thoughts at all. If I could continue that, if in the future I see any indications of misconduct, I'll report those also. I'm supposed to. That's my job.
What is the status of your job at this point? You've been put on administrative leave. What does that mean?
Well, it means I've gone home and I can't talk to anybody that works for the FBI about the FBI, and I can't go into any FBI facility.
Not at all. Not even on a public tour, I understand.
Well, that's what I've been told, yes.
Now, you are essentially looking at possibly the end of a very distinguished career. You had strong performance evaluations over the years. Where do you go from here?
Well, I don't think it's the end of my career. You know, if you look at that as the more important factor, then you find that, you know, that might get in the way of my reporting more indications. It's not the end of my career. I don't think anybody would really take that step at this point.
All right, Frederick Whitehurst, we thank you for being with us this morning.
Sure.
Later on Good Morning America, don't panic if you haven't filed your tax returns. Money editor Tyler Matheson has the situation all under control. Last-minute tax tips later on Good Morning America.
All over America, people are learning to ask for turkey a new way. Because when you don't ask for boar's head, you can be in for an unpleasant surprise.
A turkey sandwich, please.
Ground up turkey parts and fillers, extruded and molded to look like the real thing.
Boar's head.
So whenever you think of turkey, just add 2 words, boar's head.
We can't have a service without a call.
Grandma, why'd you have to be made so perfectly, Mama?
Can I ask why I didn't receive a yarmulke?
Bring the family. Grandma's kosher for Passover.
Shame on you. You should have bought your tickets already.
Plymouth Voyager is a Consumer's Digest Best Buy. So we're celebrating by giving you air conditioning, 7-passenger seating, and a very nice door prize. So for no extra charge, you'll get the 4th door on any Plymouth minivan. That's up to $18.45 in package values and savings. Even with all of that, Plymouth Voyager is still this low price. So hurry in and claim your Plymouth Voyager door prize.
It comes in all ages, shapes, and sizes. In brown eyes, blue eyes, often 4 eyes. In the freckle, dimple, or well-earned wrinkle. It's beauty. Presenting Circle of Beauty. A world of cosmetics and skincare. Custom fit for every beautiful flaw. For all women are beautiful. All part of the Circle of Beauty. Only at the softer side of Sears. Now this 6-piece $31 value gift is yours free with any Circle of Beauty purchase.
For those of you who may be a little preoccupied today, that is the filing center in Philadelphia, one of 10 tax filing centers. It is to Philadelphia and 9 other places that you will send those returns if you are a last-minute filer. I am one. And I heard on another network the other day, I'll have to take their word for it, that there are 33 million of us who file on the last day.
I'm not surprised.
Are you one?
I've always been a last-minute filer, and in some years a filer for extensions.
Are you paying this year or getting back?
I'm paying. Boy, am I paying.
Are you paying or getting back?
I think we might be getting back this year, but last minute still.
Well, wait a minute.
Made it under
if you're
the wire.
getting back and I'm paying, we shouldn't have to file. We just cancel each other out.
Lunch is on her.
Very personal
lunch
here.
Lunch is on her. I'm paying big time this year.
Me too.
Lunch is on her. We're going to go to that filing center next half hour with our money editor, Tyler Matheson. We'll be back.